Getting into Epic Universe early, accessing top secret locations, and taking part in Butterbeer season? These aren't just new Universal Orlando tips for 2025. These just might be our best Universal Orlando tips so far. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Today's Universal video is going to be good for 3 types of people. Those who are planning a Universal Orlando vacation in 2025, those who are thinking about planning a Universal Orlando vacation sometime in the future but are still on the fence about it, and those who have no idea if they're taking a Universal Orlando vacation or not, but they still want to join us today to take on the parks vicariously and see what all the fuss is about. No matter which category you fall into, welcome. Let's go have some fun and learn lots of Universal tips together. Number 1, catch a sneak peek of the newest park. Epic Universe is the talk of the town, literally. But if you want to check out this third gate before its big debut, just head over to Universal's City Walk shopping district. Leading up to Epic Universe's opening day, City Walk's going to be the home of the Epic Universe Preview Center, which holds an interactive, massive model of all the new lands and attractions to be. And while you're here, you can also get ahead of the game with your Epic Universe souvenirs, since you'll find several wands and shirts and water bottles and bags that'll help you stock up on your Epic Universe swag before the month of May rolls around. Why does May matter? Because Epic Universe is opening on May 22nd. Now, speaking of swag, you don't have to go to the Epic Universe Preview Center to find out what you're going to wear for the big Epic debut. We can help bulk up your suitcase for you. Over on DFBstore.com, you can pick up a shirt with my favorite Harry Potter-inspired quote of all time. I solemnly swear that I am up to no good. Or maybe you'd rather have a tank or a baseball tee. Up to you. In fact, the color's all up to you too, which means you can choose one of these designs in a color that best represents your Hogwarts house. Now, is there really a way to access Epic Universe before May 22nd and not just in miniature form? Well, for Universal Orlando annual pass holders, maybe. Recently, Universal's been hinting that early access to the brand new park might be awaiting pass holders in the coming months. Kind of vague, but just enough information to get us all amped up for a soft opening for pass holders soon. So if you're a Universal Orlando annual pass holder, keep checking your inbox for updates on potential early Epic Universe previews. And keep checking back here with us as well, because we'll also be keeping an eye on things and updating you ASAP just as soon as we learn more. Now, it's the end of an era, a rocking, thrill-seeking, headache-inducing era. Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit in Universal Studios will permanently close in September 2025. So, what's replacing this attraction? Don't know yet, but the permit file does say remove existing attraction and replace with proposed attraction. So Universal does have something else in the works already, and Rip Ride Rockit isn't just going to be like rethemed, it's going to be gonzo. Personally, I'm going to miss being able to choose your own soundtrack to go along with your ride through, but I'm not going to miss how much the coaster tends to beat you up. So all in all, I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to be on the horizon for this section of the park next. Plus, this coaster terrifies me. It always has. That's a big drop. So I'm ready to see what's next. My fingers are super crossed for something Back to the Future related, or perhaps more E.T. Can't get enough of that little alien dude. Okay, of course, we've got to talk about Stellanova. Stellanova Resort opened on January 21st, 2025, giving us a brand new prime value hotel close to Epic Universe. Stellanova's themed around the infinite vastness of the unexplored universe, where galaxies spiral ever outward and unknown worlds revolve around unnamed stars. That is a lot of things for a hotel to be themed after, but they do an okay job of it. It's all going to tie into Epic Universe's Celestial Parks section really, really well. While you can stay in Stellanova now if you want to, they've also got 2 other hotel siblings that'll be joining her in the coming months. Terra Luna, which is another prime value resort in the making, is being built adjacent to Stellanova and will be opening March 25th. And meanwhile, the brand new premier hotel, Helios Grand, will be opening alongside Epic Universe on May 22nd. But we're going to talk a little bit more about this Mediterranean-inspired hotel to be later on. So last year, Cinesational, a symphonic spectacular, started up in Universal Studios Florida to bring a new nighttime show to the theme park's lagoon. This show features iconic scores from classic films like E.T., Jaws, Harry Potter, and Ghostbusters, and also uses high-tech effects to pull the whole thing off, like fountains and projections. While Cinesational happens most nights, it doesn't happen every night, which could be a big bummer if you're wanting to prioritize this one. So make sure you check the Cinesational calendar on the Universal Orlando website to learn when the show is going to be taking place during your visit. It is very cool. There are even drones, so I would say maybe prioritize this one. I know the ride hasn't even opened yet, but we've already got some hot tips for the best time to ride Epic Universe's dual launch coaster, Stardust Racers, and that's going to be at night. Thanks to all the lighting effects that'll be across the track and ride vehicles, if you want to feel more like you're shooting across the night sky like a star, then you'll want to wait till the sun sets to go on this one. Though I'm sure this high-speed attraction will still be a good time no matter what time of day you board. It just looks really cool at night. Traveling between Epic Universe and Universal Orlando. Okay, fun fact. Depending on what room you stay in at Disney's Contemporary Resort, I know, just stick with me, you can actually see Epic Universe. Hard to believe? Just check out this picture from our friends at BioReconstruct for proof. Now, this picture is slightly zoomed in, but you can clearly see the Helios Grand Hotel from here, as well as the Stardust Racers coaster. So why am I telling you this? To prove a point. Epic Universe is indeed closer to Disney World than it is to the main Universal Orlando Resort area. That's not to say Epic Universe is across the globe from Universal Orlando Resort. It's just about 15 minutes away south of Sand Lake Road and east of Universal Boulevard. But if you know anything about Orlando traffic, then you know that 15 minutes can easily turn into 30. The good news is that Kirkman Road, which goes right past Universal Orlando Resort, recently extended to connect to Sand Lake Road, helping to create more convenient access for drivers trying to get over to Epic Universe. It's even got a new bridge with an elevated traffic circle, which hopefully means a smoother flow of traffic for those entering and leaving the Universal parks. At either rate, if you're visiting Epic Universe and plan on visiting the other parks too, make sure to give yourself enough travel time between the locations. If you're staying at one of the Universal resorts, you'll have free shuttle transportation that you can take advantage of. But if you're driving, I'd honestly say give yourself an extra hour just to be on the safe side of things, especially when you consider that you'll have to go through some extensive security checks before you arrive at the parks too. Okay, can you plan a Universal day without tickets? Sure, City Walk isn't as expansive as the Disney Springs shopping district, but you can still spend a good chunk of your day there. Along with shopping and dining, you can also play a round or two of putt-putt at Hollywood Drive-In Golf, watch the latest flick at the Hollywood Cinemark, solve a one-of-a-kind escape room at Universal's great movie Escape, or even run through the Universal Splash Pad in the heart of City Walk. Yep, we teased Butterbeer season at the top of this video, and we've made it. 'Tis the season to drink butterbeer and possibly eat it too. All the domestic Universal parks across Orlando and Hollywood alike have started celebrating Butterbeer season in the spring. During this time, the parks introduce us to unique Butterbeer treats like ice lollies and new caramels, as well as exclusive Butterbeer merchandise too. Butterbeer season will kick off in 2025 starting March 1st and last until May 31st. We'll see you there. But let's say you're not visiting the parks during Butterbeer season. No worries, we'll just create our own Butterbeer season because we believe Butterbeer should be celebrated all year long. So without further ado, here's your complete guide to every single place you can find Butterbeer in Universal Studios Florida, Islands of Adventure, and Epic Universe too. Cold, frozen, and hot Butterbeer can be found at the Leaky Cauldron in Diagon Alley and the Three Broomsticks in Hogsmeade, as well as Butterbeer desserts like ice cream and potted cream. Hogsmeade also has the Hogshead Pub in the back of the Three Broomsticks that sells all the different Butterbeer drinks and usually has way less of a line. The same can be said for the Fountain of Fair Fortune in Diagon Alley. You just probably won't find the hot butterbeer here. But you will find hot, cold, and frozen butterbeer, as well as butterbeer ice cream at the Hopping Pot in Diagon Alley too. For just a butterbeer ice cream fix, you'll want to visit Florian Fortescue's Ice Cream Parlor in Diagon Alley. And if you need some butterbeer fudge, check out the Wizarding World confectionery shops. You can find it at Honeyduke's inside Hogsmeade and Sugar Plum's Sweet Shop in Diagon Alley. And of course, the Hogsmeade street carts also sell butterbeer drinks, but they just get a little more crowded at times since they're out in the open and easy to access. As far as Epic Universe is concerned, the new Café L'Air de la Sirène, I know I didn't say that right, will not only have French-inspired cuisine amongst the dining room with French-inspired architecture, but they'll also serve up that classic butterbeer drink too. And there's going to be a dedicated butterbeer cart, or Butterbeer cart, stationed on the street, because even the Ministry of Magic needs their butterbeer fix. Now, what are the chances of getting me a Diet Coke in Epic Universe's Wizarding World? What do you think? Slim to none, even in Paris? What is with the wizard folk? Have I been talking too much about butterbeer? Nah. Besides, you're going to want to know this butterbeer news, especially if you're just going to be visiting City Walk during your next Orlando trip, but you're not really planning on doing the whole Universal theme park circuit. This year, the Universal Studios store will expand with brand new themed sections, including 2 new dedicated areas featuring Super Nintendo World and more Wizarding World of Harry Potter merch. But the best part about this expansion, the new Wizarding World section of the store will include a new place to grab butterbeer in cold, frozen, hot, and vegan varieties too. Okay, so Universal Studios Florida doesn't just have one park entrance, it has 2, and the second one is the almost perfect hack for guests with park-to-park tickets. This second entrance used to be known as the entrance into the Blue Man Group show, but now that the Blue Man Group show no longer performs, this second entrance is usually kept closed, except on busier park days when Universal will reopen it to help the flow of traffic. Whenever the second gate is available, park-to-park guests will be able to walk down a path leading out of Seuss Landing and bringing you right up to an entrance that spits you out between Minion Mayhem and the Universal Studios flagship store. While that might not be nearly as fun as traveling between parks using the Hogwarts Express, this walking path can often be quicker to get you place to place. Hopefully you're not planning on sending a howler to anyone, but you can send your family and friends a letter back home while you're exploring the Wizarding World over in Islands of Adventure. Inside the Owl Post in Hogsmeade, you'll find stationery, quills, seals, ink, owl-themed toys, and more for sale. But what really makes this place special is you can actually mail letters from here that'll even come with a special Hogsmeade postmark. Okay, just in case you really do want to send a howler to someone, you actually can. There are recordable howler pop-up cards in the Owl Post shop with instructions on the back to make sure your voice is captured inside the letter in all its raging glory. All for fun, of course. Don't actually yell concerning things in this card in the middle of the park, please, and make everyone around you uncomfortable. Brace yourself for an embarrassing log flume. Well, friends, we've done it. We've actually found a ride vehicle more awkward to get out of than Space Mountain in Magic Kingdom. And that vehicle can be found at Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls. Now, I really like Dudley Do-Right's. It's a little cheesy and dated, but all in all, it's a real stand-up log flume that's sure to get your heart racing and have you come off of it absolutely drenched. But the real struggle with this one isn't drying off after the ride or that massive 75-foot drop. It's the ride vehicle itself. This log flume forces you to sit front to back, single file, with your knees awkwardly wedged behind the person in front of you. So right from the start, you got to kiss your personal space goodbye. And then there's the added struggle of getting out of the vehicle after you ride. Not only are you now folded like a pretzel, but you're also soaked to the bone. So now you have to untangle yourself while also peeling yourself out of that log flume, which can feel a lot like peeling a wet suction cup off a window pane. Embarrassing? Yes, but at least you can take comfort in knowing everyone's going to have to endure this level of embarrassment to conquer this ride. Just make sure if you're wearing a skirt or sundress that day that you for sure have some slip shorts underneath to keep you from any extra embarrassment. And if you don't think this whole log flume tango is going to work for you for whatever reason, you can still be part of the Dudley Do-Right's fun even while you're off the ride. On the bridge that overlooks the big drop, you'll find water cannons. You can pay to spray riders on the ride with a little extra soakage, just in case you didn't think they were drenched enough as it is. Okay, Jurassic Park, Jaws, Ghostbusters, E.T. We love E.T. Universal Studios Florida premiered their mega movie parade last year, and we're still not over how cool it is. Unfortunately, if you're planning on going to Universal Studios Florida soon, it won't be available, but it will be returning in April. When the parade does come back, it usually only happens once per day, so you'll want to make sure you download the Universal Orlando app before your visit so you can check on those updated performance times. Okay, if you are planning on spending the majority of your Orlando vacation this year inside Epic Universe, you might not like the news I'm about to hit you with. Per the release of this video, once Epic Universe first opens, guests will only be allowed to visit the park for one day during their Universal Orlando trip as part of a multi-day park ticket bundle. The only way you'll be able to purchase single-day tickets is if you're a Universal Orlando pass holder, which comes with its own layer of bad news because that means APs won't be able to initially use their annual passes to freely access this park whenever they want to. Now, given how big Epic Universe is, one day in the park will probably not be enough time to see and do everything you want to do here. So you might want to slam on the brakes for a 2025 visit if you want to make sure you can spend multiple days inside the new park during your next trip. We don't expect this whole one day only thing to always be the case with Universal, but we do expect this rule to be in place for a while until the new park's popularity wanes a little bit. So if you are still committed to a 2025 Epic Universe visit, make sure you create a list of must-dos before you go so you don't miss out on something while you're rushing to do, everything else. Speaking of which, let's strategize a little bit here. Trying to figure out your must-dos for a park you've never gone to before can be pretty overwhelming, so please, let us help you out. If you scan the QR code you see on the screen right now or head over to disneyfoodblog.com/epic after this, you can pick up our 100% free Epic Universe guide, which goes into detail about all the rides and restaurants and shops and shows and extra attractions that'll be available inside this third gate, giving you the chance to see it all laid out in a nice, neat, and non-brain scattering fashion so you'll know exactly which must-dos you want to plan ahead for. Now, here's a slightly dangerous discovery. When you stay at one of the Universal Orlando resorts, your key card becomes more than just a way to unlock your room. Your room keys also allow you to charge your purchases anywhere you shop or dine around Universal Orlando Resort. So whether you're buying merchandise at the parks or dining at a different Universal hotel or shopping at City Walk, your key card can be an easy way to keep track of specific charges. Or you could pay another way. Much like Disney has their own Visa card, Universal also has a Visa card that you can sign up for. Comes with its own theme park perks and benefits. Universal Rewards Visa Signature Card gives you 2% back in rewards on Universal purchases and 1% on everything else, which means you could potentially earn more rewards that go towards a prepaid card you can eventually use throughout the parks, or you can use it to book future trips. Cardholders also receive 10% off select merchandise and 10% off food and beverage purchases at certain locations throughout Universal Orlando and Hollywood. Not to mention, you can also access a special cardholder lounge inside Universal Studios Florida during your next visit, which you can find at the front of the park, just across from guest services. Keep in mind, though, that you do have to pay an annual fee to be a Universal Visa cardholder. Comes to $99 per year. Okay, this is the last section where I'm going to talk about payment methods, I promise you, but I always think talking about Volcano Bay's Tapoo band is super fun. Tapoo is a free interactive bracelet that you're going to be given when you enter the park, and you're going to need it to access the rides and the slides. Tapoo also lets you unlock interactive features around the park, like shooting water cannons on riders or revealing images inside Krakatau's hidden caves. But one of the niftier features of the Tapoo band is the option to add a credit card for the ultimate hands-free park experience, which Universal has creatively called Tap to Pay. It's not required, but you can use it to pay for your locker, your souvenirs, your food and drinks without worrying about backtracking to get your wallet and phone every time you need to pay for something. You can set up your Tap to at the park or in advance via the Universal Orlando website app. All you have to do is go to your profile tab on the bottom of the screen and tap the wallet icon, enter your credit card information, link your party's Universal Volcano Bay tickets, and then create a PIN that your whole party can use for purchases. At the end of the day, all your personal information will be unlinked from your Tapoo once you turn it back in. Okay, so now we've paid for our souvenirs in a variety of ways, but what are we going to do with those souvenirs after we swipe our cards or tap our bands to claim them? We'll just send them on back to our Universal Orlando Resort. Hallelujah! There is merchandise delivery in Universal Studios. Not in Disney anymore, but they do have it here. When you're making a purchase, let the team member behind the register know that you'd like your souvenirs sent back to your hotel, so you don't have to worry about backtracking there yourself or having to purchase a bigger locker to stow your stuff for the day. The Universal team member will make sure to get you all set up so your new purchases can be delivered to your hotel's front desk by the next day. Just keep in mind that you won't be able to do this on the day you check out, since package deliveries to your resort are always made the following day. That being said, you can still use the park to home shipping option for an extra fee if you'd like to keep from toting around all your stuff all day long. The park to home option is available for all guests to use whether you're staying on or off Universal property during your vacation. The package delivery is just for people staying in the hotels. Okay, you see that massive stage to the left of Jimmy Fallon race through New York? It's not there just for looks, though it does look impressive. Throughout the year, Universal Studios Florida hosts artists and bands to take on the stage for exclusive performances during events like Mardi Gras and Halloween and the Christmas season too. And while this event has already happened this year, you may want to plan a trip in 2026 to experience Rock the Universe, which is a Christian rock music festival that happens toward the beginning of each year and brings some of the biggest Christian artists to the stage in a 3-day jam-packed weekend of music and fun. In 2025, Rock the Universe took place on January 24th to the 26th and featured popular artists like Matthew West, Ren Collective, Elevation Rhythm, and several other big-name bands and singers too. Hey Bria, good to see ya.
Hello friends, Bria the scriptwriter here. While AJ and I have been spending more time on the Universal Orlando scene lately, that means some of my remote scriptwriting days take place on Universal grounds versus Disney grounds. So, what does that look like exactly? For the most part, Universal's Wi-Fi has worked pretty well for me, both inside and outside of the parks. But when it comes to the Universal Orlando hotel lobbies, which I tend to prefer stationing myself at since there's a lot more places to sit, charge up, and deal with fewer crowds, I have run into some minor quote-unquote obstacles during my workday. Standard Wi-Fi at the Universal hotels is free for everyone to use. However, that standard Wi-Fi is going to help you do those bare basic internet functions like access my Google Docs or check my emails. If you want better premium Wi-Fi, which will allow you to do more things like upload and send videos and photos with faster internet speeds, the premium wireless access is free for hotel guests only and will cover you for up to 4 devices per room. But if you need that premium Wi-Fi for more than 4 devices, you'll have to pay about $10 for the Premium Plus service, which will cover 8 devices instead.
Okay, slide down and outhouse. Never in my 15 years on this channel did I ever think I was going to recommend an outhouse slide to my DFB friends, and yet here we are. And here I am about to do just that. A really cool part about the new DreamWorks land in Universal Studios Florida is how much this section is centered around the kids, or more specifically, kids' playgrounds. This gives younger members of your group more things to do during their Universal day, which is awesome if they're intimidated by some of those big kid rides or if they're just not tall enough to experience them just yet. One of those playground areas is Shrek Swamp for Little Ogres, which has a lot of hidden secrets and fun special surprises in store for kids and grown-ups alike. For example, over at the Fact Shack, you can press the doorbell button just below Pinocchio's stand and he'll come out to tell you an interesting fact. And by fact, I mean a downright lie. Come on, dude, your nose totally gives it away. But of course, the main player of this playground is the outhouse slide. And when kids slide down it, well, they're going to hear something that Shrek probably considers to be better out than in. Hey now, hey now. Nope, not going to sing it. Bria is trying to make me sing this song and I'm not going to do it. Anyway, the Minion Cafe in Universal Studios Florida is quirky, colorful, and minion infested. It also has blue rice and pet rocks to eat, 2 things I've always said need to be added to the food pyramid. But there's something interesting to look out in every dining room area, even when it comes to some of the tables. One table in particular is a real working Despicable Me themed foosball table where the minions are the players and Gru is the goalie. So you can munch on your pet rock and play a game of foosball with your family. And really, what other restaurant out there is going to allow you to do that? Want to have access to all your in-ride photos and professional meet and greet pictures that you take around the parks? Then you might want to consider investing in a My Universal Photos package. You can choose to purchase single-day photo packages, 3-day photo packages, and or Volcano Bay photo packages too for all those swimsuit pictures. And if you go to the My Universal Photos page on their website, you'll also find a full list of participating photo locations around each of the parks too. Okay, prepare for the scariest Universal land to date. Of course, you guessed it, it is Seuss Landing. I'm just pulling your leg, sort of. If you've ridden the Cat in the Hat ride, you might still be battling the nightmares from that. However, the actual land I want to talk about real quick is the brand new Dark Universe coming to Epic Universe. While Dark Universe isn't going to be on par with Halloween Horror Nights or anything, this is still going to be a land filled with monsters, and pretty terrifying monsters. You can tell just by looking at the animatronics that have been created for this land. Universal is not playing. They're not pulling punches here. There is the possibility that sections of Dark Universe will be too scary for kiddos, especially when it comes to the rides. However, that doesn't mean kids aren't going to find a lot to love about this place. In fact, Dark Universe will have a monster makeup experience where monster makers will use their talents to transform guests into a likeness of their favorite Universal monsters, which might be a fun way for kids to immerse themselves in this new world without it being too scary. You know what they say, if you can't beat them, join them. Okay, if you're planning on driving into the Universal Orlando Resort area each day, you'll have the option to pay for standard parking. That's $32 per day, or you can pay extra for prime parking. That's $50 to $60 per day, depending on the season. But what exactly will prime parking get you? Will it really put you at more of an advantage than others who are just choosing the standard parking option instead? Will it put you at 2 times the advantage, which is how much it's going to cost you? Not really. What prime parking will do is put you on the same level as security, meaning you're not going to have to walk the extra steps or take the escalator to reach that checkpoint. But other than that, you're still going to have a pretty long walk to the parks as you go through security and the entirety of City Walk and then up to your park's front gate. So whether you decide to pay for prime parking or not, just always give yourself that extra travel time in the morning because you're still going to need it. At Universal Orlando, you can purchase a refillable cup inside the parks that you can refill for free at participating Coca-Cola Freestyle locations all day long. This is my dream come true because the soda goblin in me loves being able to refill my cup at Coca-Cola Freestyle machines as much as I want, because I'm going to kamikaze that thing and make sure that I try everything. With that being said, I want to warn y'all about something. Inside the Universal Orlando hotels, you'll also find refillable cups for sale that you can use at freestyle stations around the resorts. However, these refillable cups are different than the ones you find in the parks. So if you purchase a refillable cup at your hotel, you cannot use that cup for refills in the parks, and vice versa. So if you're like me, you're going to buy both refillable cups, so you're covered all the time. And one more freestyle cup caveat. Speaking of park freestyle cups, make sure yours is empty before you put it in one of the ride lockers. Many of Universal's rides require you to stow away your stuff in a locker before you hop on. Universal offers 3 different types of lockers: complimentary ride lockers, prepaid ride lockers, and all-day lockers. The complimentary ride lockers usually suffice well enough as long as you only have a small bag you need to worry about. However, if you purchase a freestyle cup, that's not going to fit in those lockers if it's standing upright. So that means you're going to need to lay it on its side if you want to stow it away without having to pay for a bigger locker. So before you go get that Diet Coke refill, make sure you're not about to immediately hop in line for another ride, because you'll have to guzzle it real quick to keep it from spilling all over the place in your locker. And believe me, you do not want to down a whole thing of soda right before going on a roller coaster. Ooh, okay, next tip is the fuel rod hack. Now, we've mentioned this a few times for our past Disney World videos, but the same one works for your Universal trips too. Much like Disney, Universal has fuel rod phone charger kiosks stationed around their parks. You can find out where these kiosks are located on the map of your Universal Orlando app. And also like Disney, you're gonna have to pay a pretty penny for these fuel rod chargers if you want to use them to juice up your phone during the day. The initial cost of one charger will put you back around $30. However, if you purchase fuel rods on Amazon ahead of your trip, you can actually purchase 2 chargers for the price of one inside the parks. Warning though, unlike Disney, Universal's fuel rod stations do cost extra when you swap out your fuel rods to get fully charged ones, so be prepared to pay an extra $3 per swap. Or, get this, you can download the Fuel Rod app and your first 5 swaps are free of charge. See, lots of tips in here. Ooh, not to be confused with Disney California Adventure's defunct Superstar Limo ride, which definitely left something to be desired back in the early 2000s. Superstar Shuttle is a whole lot niftier than that. The Universal Orlando Superstar Shuttle runs from Orlando International, MCO, to all the Universal Orlando Resort hotels and back again in one continuous loop. If you want to rely on this shuttle service instead of booking a rideshare or reserving a rental car or doing some other sort of shuttle service, you'll have to book your reservation in advance. You can book a one-way trip either to or from the airport for around $23 per adult, or you can book a round-trip reservation for about $39. If you add it to your vacation package online, you'll need to add your flight information through a follow-up email, or you can call Universal Guest Services to add it to an existing vacation package, 407-224-4233. There you go. Hopefully that helps. I hate looking up phone numbers. Now, here's how to get free park tickets. Nope, it's not a scam. You can get free tickets for the Universal Studios Florida and or Universal Islands of Adventure parks. Currently, when you purchase 2-day, 2-park tickets, you'll get 2 more park days free. That's 4 park days for the price of 2. I know, I'm kind of a math whiz, no big. Now, the ticket is valid for any 4 days during a 7-day consecutive period, which starts on the date selected for your ticket. Any unused days won't roll over, unfortunately, but you can choose to upgrade your ticket to include Universal Volcano Bay if you'd like. As far as getting free Epic Universe tickets, though, yeah, no dice there yet, though we'll be on the hunt for any sort of ticket deals for this new park ASAP. Now, this is not a new tip, but it's still a good tip that you're not going to want to ditch when you go to Epic Universe. Pack your non-drowsy Dramamine or whatever you prefer to use to keep the motion sickness at bay. Universal is well known for its screen-based rides and intense coasters, and while the screen-based rides won't be as prominent in Epic Universe, you'll still run into them for some attractions. And if you're planning on conquering the high-speed, barrel-rolling Dragon Racers Rally and How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk, then boy howdy, you're going to want some sort of head and tummy soother on hand, I'm guessing. If you accidentally leave your Dramamine behind, Universal does have first aid centers in their parks as well as at Universal City Walk that can provide you with single doses of over-the-counter medication for free if you're in need of some quick relief to get you back on your feet again and feeling good as new. But I have heard from folks, and we've got an internal debate going on at DFB, that you're going to want to take your anti-nausea medication for a couple days before you go. So let us know in the comments what your experience has been with that. Now, if you've already exhausted all the interactive spells across Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade with your Wizarding World wand, don't shelve that magical accessory just yet. Inside the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic, you're going to be able to discover new interactive spell casting points across the land so that your abilities don't get rusty, of course. If you haven't gotten an interactive wand from one of the other Universal gift shops just yet, don't worry, the premier Parisian wand shop inside this new area called Cosme Acahor Baguettes Magiques, I know, I did not pronounce that well. Please let me know in the comments. Will feature popular imports from Ollivanders as well as signature 3-sided boxes, which will each come with a list of locations throughout the land where you can practice casting spells. Cosme Acahor Baguettes Magiques. Maybe that's it? Also, can I just say I love that they're called baguettes? Like, couldn't get better. So the Ministry of Magic isn't the only new area inside Epic Universe with interactive sections. You'll also be able to purchase interactive PowerUp bands to enhance your time in Super Nintendo World. I know, we haven't talked a lot about Super Nintendo World here yet, have we? If you've watched any POV videos that give you a sneak peek inside the Super Nintendo Worlds that already exist in Japan and California, then you probably already know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, let me catch you up to speed. Think of these accessories as like a mashup between Disney's Magic Bands and Universal's interactive wands. Throughout Super Nintendo World, there are immersive challenges that you can participate in that'll test your quickness, skill, and timing. If you opt to purchase a PowerUp band, you can collect a digital key every time you win a key challenge. PowerUp bands also let you collect digital coins and stamps and track your scores and check to see how you stack up against other Nintendo competitors. If you gather enough keys, you may be able to unlock an exclusive showdown against Bowser Jr. Now, while these bands are a fun and different way to interact with this new realm, you definitely don't need to purchase one to enjoy your time in Super Nintendo World, and you may not really want one if you don't want to spend $40 per person in your group to get them. Not to mention, some of those interactive touch points can get pretty busy, and you might find yourself waiting in line to activate one just to see 13 plus other folks activate it before you get up to the fun, which kind of spoils things. That being said, the band really does elevate the whole Super Nintendo experience to make you feel like you're really part of that video game setting happening around you. Now you're like, AJ, how do you know this? Well, we've gone to the Super Nintendo World in Universal Studios Hollywood and used the power bands. We have a blog post on our site all about whether they're worth it or not. Okay, so you don't have to earn free express passes. All you have to do is choose the right hotel room. If you're staying at one of Universal's premier hotels, like Loews Portofino Bay, Hard Rock Hotel, Loews Royal Pacific, you will receive free Universal Express Unlimited passes for everyone under the room reservation, which gives you the chance to use all of Universal's express lanes to bypass the main ride lines as many times as you want. This is like my kryptonite for Universal. I love that they give you these express passes at these hotels. Now, keep in mind that Epic Universe doesn't play by these rules just yet, so express passes won't be available for the new park, nor will Helios Grand give you unlimited express passes if you stay at that new premier hotel. But if that changes in the future, I'm gonna be sure to let you know, because I'm waiting for that. Now, here's how to walk straight into Epic Universe like you own the place. Helios Grand might not give you free express passes, but you know what it will give you? Epic Universe in your backyard or your side yard or whatever, depending on where you're staying in the hotel. This new premier hotel is located inside Universal's brand new third gate, meaning it'll have a dedicated entrance leading you directly into the Celestial Park area. This is very much like Grand Californian over in Disneyland with Disney California Adventure right in its backyard. It's like Mira Costa Hotel where you can walk right into Tokyo Disney Sea, well, sort of. It's got a dedicated entrance to go in there. You don't have to wait in the lines. So this could be a huge, huge deal. I cannot wait to see how it works. Ooh, very, very important tip here. Check the height requirements before you go to Universal and especially before you go to Epic Universe. Universal has always prided themselves on their variety of thrill rides, and Epic Universe will be no different. That being said, make sure you're checking out the height requirements for the Epic Universe rides before you go, just in case you're traveling with little ones and find out that there's not as much for them to do as you initially thought there'd be. Actually, here, how about I bring the height requirements to you instead? Might make things easier, right? When it comes to rides, it'll be good for all ages and heights. There is Constellation Carousel and Celestial Park, Fire Drill and How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk. And Epic Universe also has rides that have a bit of a height requirement, but are still for the younger group members too, like Minecart Madness, that's 36 inches, and Yoshi's Adventure, which is 34 inches, and Super Nintendo World. And as for the rides made for bigger kids, you've got Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge and Super Nintendo World, that's 40 inches. Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry and Ministry of Magic, that's 40 inches as well. Hiccup's Wing Gliders is 40 inches, and Dragon Racers Rally is 48 inches in Isle of Berk. Stardust Racers in Celestial Park, also 48 inches, and Curse of the Werewolf is 40 inches, and Monsters Unchained, The Frankenstein Experiment is 48 inches. Those are both in Dark Universe. Okay, it had to be done. The team and I are working on tracking down the best restrooms inside the Universal Orlando parks right now, and here's the data we've collected so far. In Universal Studios Florida, this might surprise you, but those restrooms located toward the front of the park on your right-hand side after you walk through the gates, actually pretty reliable. Not only are they spacious, but they're not usually as packed as you'd think, probably because people are trying to make a beeline to whatever ride they want to hit up first. And I know you already know I've got a major bias when it comes to all things E.T. I blame the 80s for that one. But the bathrooms near the E.T. Adventure attraction are also pretty private. Plus, they recently got a little paint job, so now you see the silhouettes of the kids flying over the restroom sign on their bikes. It's the little things. Meanwhile, in Islands of Adventure, the Lost Continent might not have a whole lot going on at the moment, but that does mean the restrooms over here are pretty much out of sight, out of mind for lots of folks. And while the restrooms in Hogsmeade aren't exactly private, in fact, they stay pretty busy all day long, you may still want to pay them a visit just so you can hear the weeping and wailing of moaning Myrtle haunting the stalls. So I love me some mobile order convenience. Universal's mobile order option lets me order my quick service food while I'm out and about wandering the parks, which means I don't have to stand in line for it, and that gives me more time to catch a few more rides on ET Adventure before it's time to chow down. However, here's what I don't love about Universal's mobile order. If you're using Universal mobile order, you cannot use a Universal gift card, nor can you use the Universal dining plan to pay for it, which feels just wild to me. So if you're wanting to use gift cards or the dining plan to pay for your quick service meal, skip the extra rides on ET and pay for your food in person. I'm sorry. Much like Disney uses a third-party company, Chargerback, to help you keep track of lost and found reports, Universal Orlando also uses a website to do the same thing, but instead of Chargerback, you'll get updates through a third-party site called Boomerang. Of course, you can report any missing items to guest services directly, but if you want to get ahead of the game because you want to start searching for your missing phone or wallet or keys or stuffed animal that your kid sleeps with every night, you can head to thanksboomerang.com and file a report ASAP. Once you complete the report, you'll get a notification shortly shortly after that shows you the status of your lost item. The status will be updated depending on what happens next, whether it's found, the hopeful outcome, whether it's still being searched for, or whether more information is needed to help out the crew during their search, or whether the item was unable to be located. You can also call Universal's guest services for more lost and found advice and info at 407-224-4233. This isn't necessarily a new tip, but it's still an important tip that I hope will still be viable for Epic Universe 2. Many of Universal's attractions have test seats right outside the ride that you can try out before hopping into a queue. You can find out which rides have test seats available ahead of time via the Universal app. So if you're worried that the ride you're about to get in line for won't accommodate your body type, don't skip over these testers because they should help you figure out if a particular ride is going to be worth the wait or not. Need a place to simply hide in the shadows and feel all mysterious and brooding? Then here's where you need to go inside Universal. Nocturn Alley in Universal Studios Florida is home to dark magic and mischief and secrets, which is why it's actually easy to overlook if you're not actively searching for it. To enter, you'll want to either head to the entrance right past the Leaky Cauldron or head around to the restrooms on the backside of the Gringotts Dragon. Camp Jurassic at Islands of Adventure, not just for kids. This is for anyone who dares to brave the caves and tunnels located under and over and all around Camp Jurassic. Just be ready to endure lots of rope bridges and climbing paths to reach those dark and slightly eerie crevices around this prehistoric playground. Much like Disney World or really any theme park, Universal Orlando might shut down a ride or two or more for seasonal refurbishments. If you want to make sure a ride or attraction you're wanting to visit isn't going to be closed while you're there, Universal does keep an updated list of temporary attraction closures on its website, which you can find on the Theme Park and City Walk Hours page. Just scroll down past the calendars and you'll find them. Mardi Gras is returning to Universal Studios Florida in 2025, and it's returning really soon. Universal Mardi Gras International Flavors of Carnival is one of the best events in Orlando. It's going to be back starting February 1st, 2025, and will run until March 30th. So what can you expect to experience this time? Well, there's food, of course, really good food, by the way. Lots of exclusive eats you can only find during Mardi Gras season. Then there's the Mardi Gras Parade, another really great event, which happens on select nights and has these huge, incredibly themed floats, as well as some incredible performers and colorful beads, so get ready to load up on bling. Now, you might also have a chance to be in the Mardi Gras Parade yourself, which means you'll not just be able to collect beads, you'll be able to throw beads. According to the Universal website, those who want to reserve their spot on a Mardi Gras float will be able to do so in-park via the virtual line experience through the Universal Orlando app. Just keep in mind that spots on the floats are extremely limited, so you'll want to make sure to join that queue as soon as it goes live, which is typically about 2 hours before the parade begins. Now, if you're an annual pass holder, you can potentially snag your spot on one of these floats ahead of your Mardi Gras visit instead of waiting to do so on the day of. Big hack here. Universal will send out emails to their pass holders before the event, telling them when and how to make these advance reservations. But don't worry, general admission guests, there's still a way you can book your spot on a float ahead of time too. It's just going to come at an extra cost. On the Universal website, you can book the Mardi Gras float and ride experience, which will give you a reserved spot on a float plus a 3-course meal at one of Universal's select restaurants. That experience starts at $89.99. And of course, you can't have a celebration in a theme park without special merchandise, right? So you'll also find a Mardi Gras tribute store in the Hollywood section of the park that includes a lot of Mardi Gras collectibles like popcorn buckets and clothing and drinkware and more. And like I mentioned earlier, Mardi Gras also features a series of concerts throughout the event. On the nights that concerts are offered, they'll typically start around 8:30 p.m., though times are subject to change. So you'll want to do your research and find out when and what time these artists are performing so you don't miss out. In 2025, expect to see performances by T-Pain, Foster the People, All Time Low, and lots more. Okay, so a virtual queue won't just give you the chance to star on a Universal Parade float. It might also be your one and only way to meet the live-action Grinch around Grinchmas season. The Grinch is a hit, with thousands of Islands of Adventure guests during each Grinchmas season, so much so that it's not unheard of for this meet and greet experience to rack up 100-plus minute waits during peak visiting times. So, just so this doesn't hit you out of the blue, you may need to join a virtual queue via the Universal app to meet this sassy guy. But while you wait, you can always roam around Seuss Landing and chit-chat with other Whoville residents, or you can catch the Holiday Grinchmas Spectacular, which is a live retelling of the classic Grinch story featuring a soundtrack recorded by Christmas music legends of Mannheim Steamroller, which is my dad's favorite band ever. Okay, backtracking the holidays from Christmas over to Halloween now. Halloween Horror Nights is a separately ticketed event that happens over at Universal Studios Florida on certain nights from August through the beginning of November. During the event, you'll encounter scare zones, exclusive treats, live entertainment, lots and lots of haunted houses. But these haunted houses are popular. So much like the Grinch, you might find yourself waiting in long lines for them. But unlike the Grinch, there's no virtual queues to rely on here. So you're just going to have to stand in a standard line until it's your turn to get scared silly. Unless, of course, you go the Express Pass route, and then you won't have to worry about those massive lines at all. Yep, Universal Studios Florida has Express Passes for their haunted houses too. The Express Pass add-on for this event can be applied to your already existing single night ticket, allowing you to skip the regular lines once and only once at all the haunted houses, as well as the other participating rides and attractions that you want to experience during the event. In 2024, prices for Halloween Horror Nights Express Passes started at around $130. Just remember, an Express Pass purchase alone will not grant you entry to the event. You need to purchase your single night ticket, then you can purchase this nifty add-on. So how will you know if this extra expense is really going to come in handy for you or not? Typically speaking, if you're attending the event on a weekend, that's when crowds will be at their highest and the Express Pass will be most handy. Okay, we're ending things on a major high note today. If you're staying at any of the Universal hotels in the future, you can use early theme park entry on select mornings for certain parks, which will give you access to certain sections of the parks for an extra hour before the parks officially open for everyone else. And that benefit's going to be available over at Epic Universe too. Recently, we learned that those who are planning on using the early entry benefit at this new park will be able to access attractions inside Super Nintendo World and Celestial Park before the general public can that day. It is so exciting to start really diving into the Universal scene lately, and we cannot wait to keep giving you new tips and tricks and strategies, especially as we lead up to Epic Universe's grand opening. Speaking of which, don't forget to pick up our free ultimate guide to Epic Universe right now over at disneyfoodblog.com/epic. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. I cannot wait for Epic Universe to open. It's going to be so exciting. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.